Welcome to the next episode of Decants with D. I am Dietmar Ostermann. I'm your host this afternoon, and I'm the regular guy from Long Island. Brunello di Montalcino is back on the agenda. Brunello di Montalcino, Poggio All'Oro, from the famed Castello Banfi. Now this is a 1997 Reserva, and I wanted to show you at this special show how does a 25-year-old Brunello di Montalcino that was very good when it first came out taste today. You see a different background in my show today. For those of you who follow my show every week, I finally succeeded in selling and closing on my wine mansion directly on the Great South Bay. I still have a little place in Amityville, and this is where we are filming this show from. But other than that, my move to Texas and South Carolina has started. So coming back to Brunello. Brunello obviously is a Sangiovese wine that is planted around the town of Montalcino. The requirements are strict. It's a DOCG in Italy, very controlled. There were fights about exactly what can be called Brunello, but they all agreed now that it's 100% Sangiovese, and the aging requirements are enormous, over 3 years for every Brunello, typically in Slovenian or French oak. But the Reserva that we are talking about here has to be not only aged longer in oak, but then also after it comes out of the oak, aged more in the bottle. The time from the harvest to the selling in the market for Reserva is 62 months minimum. In my previous shows, I've told you that 2016, 2015 of the recent vintages were the absolute best of recent memory in Brunello. WineSpectator rated the whole entire 2016 vintage 99 points, and 2015 97 points. Before that, 13 was good at 95 points, 12 was good at 96, and I'm drinking right now mostly 2010, which were rated the whole entire vintage 98 points by WineSpectator at that time. But the 1997 vintage was also a great vintage. That was rated 96 points back when it first came out in 2002 or so. So I have here, at a very special occasion, the 1997 Reserva Poggio All'Oro from Castello Banfi, one of the biggest and most powerful producers over there in Montalcino. I decanted this wine an hour prior to the show, and I'm re-poured it back into the bottle. I'm now decanting it for a second time to give it enough time to air. Okay, let's check this baby out. The color is such a beautiful, rusty garnet with hints of ruby, a little bit of sediment in the wine. Let's give it a sippy sniff. The typical sour sherry is in here. Not as pronounced as I would have expected, a little bit laid back, some blackberry, some black plum, crushed black fruits in general. Dried sherry, I would say. A little bit of a leather in the nose, maybe a tick of tobacco. Let's give it a whirl. Very drinkable. On the palate, you do have those crushed fruits. You can taste it's an older wine. leathery component, tertiary components are coming out. Maybe there's even a little bit of balsamic in there, certainly a little bit of tobacco as well. But the leather is an interesting phenomenon and almost overpowering the fruit. So when you drink a younger Brunello, 2010, 2012, 15, 16 now, then of course the fruit profile is stronger. As the Brunello ages, the fruit profile goes back, the tannins go back, and some of the secondary and tertiary flavors come out. So in this particular case, it's a lot of leather, some balsamic, tobacco. Very interesting. I give this wine at this point in time a 4.0. Previously, WineSpectator rated this wine 96 points. And Vivino users on average, there's only about 300 that rated it, gave it 4.5. This is a very rare wine. Not many bottles were imported into the United States. On average today, this wine sells for about $200. When it first came out, it was $125. You cannot buy it on Vivino. That's my story about the older Brunello di Montalcinos. Brunello di Montalcino is a lighter but full-bodied wine, so a very good wine for summer barbecues like steak or so, as an alternative to a Cabernet Sauvignon. That's it. If you like this show, please like it and subscribe to my channel and watch my show every Sunday